Ahead of the 2027 general elections, controversy and public outrage have continued to trail the Senate's purported rejection of real-time electronic transmission of results. Some civil society groups on Monday took to the streets of Abuja, particularly the gates of the National Assembly, to register their displeasure, with calls for more protests in the coming days, especially as senators are set for an emergency plenary on Tuesday.
Our vote!
On Sunday, during the book launch, the president of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Akpabio, had argued that calls for real-time electronic transmission of election results failed to take into account Nigeria's infrastructure challenges, citing lack of electricity and internet access in many rural communities. According to him, allowing such a provision in the law could negatively affect electoral outcomes. Responding, Senator David Mark, a former Senate president, who was the current chairman of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, a leading opposition party in the country, said that the Senate president could not speak on behalf of the ADC, adding that the party's demand and that of many Nigerians was straightforward. According to him, all the ADC was asking was for the National Assembly to pass the amendment with provisions for real-time transmissions of results and allow the Independent National Electoral Commission to determine its feasibility. Mark said, and I quote, "The National Assembly should pass the law and let INEC complain if there is a problem," noting that neither INEC nor Nigerians were complaining about the real-time transmission, but rather demanding greater transparency and credibility in elections. He argued that raising infrastructure excuses at the lawmaking stage only weakened public confidence in the reform process, insisting that electoral laws should be designed to protect the integrity of the vote, not to preemptively limit it. While Akpabio acknowledged the Senate had yet to conclude work on the Electoral Act amendment, it is clear that public anger is growing by the minute.
Don't tire for selection. We want to elect credible leaders. We want leaders when they understand the mindset of the people. Go and tell Akpabio.
True Vision collated the views of Nigerians on the matter. Innocent Lagi, a lawyer and former Attorney General of Nasarawa State, said that by refusing to conduct the 2027 general elections, using electronic transmission of results, further discrediting the electoral process amid public outrage, risk throwing our democracy to the edge.
I think we must have credible election. It's a shame as a people, not just as a country, that we cannot be able to agree on an election or the means of conducting an election. We all agree on how to account for our monies and the rest of them. Why can't we do the same on how we account for our results? And I think the issue of whether we can transmit electronically or otherwise are actually not the main issue. But I think most importantly, we need to understand and agree, first off, that where INEC conducts an elections, it is for INEC to prove that it had complied with the laws provided for in conduct of that elections and not the parties to the elections. Because as a candidate as an election, what am I going to prove? And that is why we are where we are. If the responsibility on proving that we have conducted an election in accordance to the law and the rules lies on INEC when I complain, I think we will have a clearer picture to see INEC coming up to show that we have transmitted the result as required by law, we have collated the result as provided by law. Now, if we have a whole month before the elections and you ask everybody who wants to vote with their telephone numbers, because those phone numbers are now registered. Every phone number is registered to NIN, and every NIN is registered to a person. And if those are secured to operate bank accounts, to operate international passports and the rest of them, why don't we take a week to vote? And everybody can vote with their phones. Just the way we collect and have credit and debit in our account, we can do the same thing using the central bank system or a system that can be trustworthy. And at the end of the day, if I challenge that my result is not counted for my candidate, I can be able to look at the receipt of my voting and compare it with what is out there and say, look, You are carrying a no vote for me while I have a receipt of a vote.
Chief Emmanuel Lloyd Nwosu, a chieftain of the APC, said the idea of the inability to conduct electronic transmission of results is an affront to public intelligence and shows the ominous character of the Nigerian political class.
We cannot continue to push people as leaders who we know do not have the characteristics of leaders or the qualifications for leadership. How can any individual in this century, when nations are building sophisticated artificial intelligence powered systems, be saying that we cannot transmit simple data from any part of Nigeria? Who says so? Don't we have villages? Today, All Progressives Congress is carrying out what it calls e-registration. Why are they doing it? What is E? Is it not electronic registration? They should have said, no, we can't do it because, you see, when people lie brazenly, I get so upset that I want to brand them what they are. Criminals. How can a human being oppose a system that will give us something close to free and fair, transparent electoral process? So the excuse is simple bunkum. We all have ATM and POS in the remotest parts of this country. Have we not seen videos where these criminals and kidnappers, bandits, use POS to transact inside the forest? What are we talking about? So what does it take to transmit simple elections from polling units? You know, they are lying. I think Nigerians are aware. Even when I am a member of APC, I have repeatedly said that I cannot sacrifice honesty and patriotism on the altar of party loyalty. It doesn't make sense. We got to save Nigeria because this country is going to die somehow if we don't rescue it.
Umar Sani, a stalwart of the PDP and former senior special assistant on media and publicity to former President Goodluck Jonathan, agrees that it is quite outrageous to say that electronic transmission of results is not feasible in this day and age, but that he believes that in the harmonization process between the Senate and the House of Representatives, electronic transmission of results will be retained or restored in the final amendment of the Electoral Act.
You know, in every of this type of thing, there must be a silver lining. There is something that the federal government or the National Assembly is not telling us, because it is not their responsibility to think for other agencies of government. They cannot think for the communication industry. They cannot think for INEC that is supposed to implement those things. And who told them that our communication is so poor that real-time transfer of results cannot be possible? Most times now, you go to the villages. Even in the villages, there is internet penetration. People, you can make calls from your village, from the remotest of villages. So if you can make calls, you can send text messages, you can send emails from your village. Why would it be impossible for you to send the results on real time? And giving INEC options, it is intended to manipulate INEC, so that when the time comes and then the result is not favorable, they say, INEC, just use the second option. Don't use the first option. So we are insisting, and what we are saying as opposition is that we insist that electronic transmission of results is not only adequate, it is very necessary if there should be a free, fair, and credible elections. We want an election where nobody will have to go to courts to determine, for the courts to begin to determine who has won and who has lost. We want, something that even at the comfort of your home, you can make calculations and know the person who has won the election. And there will be no further argument as to who has won the election. And that is the type of election we want. So I think, to me, I believe that the National Assembly should have a rethink. Although what we are witnessing is that the National Assembly is arguing that they did not alter it. There is an argument overwhelmingly that even the Senate President said that thing is still there. It has not been altered. And the National Assembly has given us, confidence that, up to now they are yet to adopt the votes and proceedings of the Senate. And I think they want to do it tomorrow. And in adopting the votes and proceedings of the Senate, they have said what they can do is, they will read it clause by clause. And once they read it clause by clause, anywhere that their decision is altered, they will draw the attention of the plenary and then it will be corrected.
To Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election and the chieftain of the ADC, the electoral process must be transparent from start to finish, from the primaries to the electronic transmission of results.
We need to address our concerns about this country and election. What we want is an electoral process that is transparent from beginning to finish. Our demands about the amendment is simple. Let us have an amendment that allows, first, let no qualification of people who want to contest the election. And that qualification must be advertised. So if anybody says, I went to this primary school, I went to this secondary school, I went to this university, people are supposed to know about that. And that process has to continue through party primaries and everything. And finally, the election must be transmitted electronically. Polling booths.
Direct.
Yes. We don't want any transit point any longer. Let people watch it.
Will the Nigerian Senate stand its ground, insisting that electronic transmission of results in real time is impossible? Will Nigerians back down? Which doesn't seem likely. For now, the intrigues continue. Gabriel Atumei, reporting for True Vision Television, the platform that democratizes the media space.